Quite often, you must feel like your friends, your relatives, even your siblings, they're getting ahead of you in life, right? And you feel left behind. They're so ahead of me. What am I doing? Am I a failure or I'm just inadequate? Or something. So you're constantly comparing yourself to people around you, especially the ones that you think are doing better than you. This comparison can actually give you a lot of mental suffering and misery. So today I'll give you 4 very important points that will not only restore your mental health but also maximize your growth. It's the perfect balanced approach to deal with this comparison problem. Let's begin. Point number 1, make peace with uniqueness, variability, and diversity. When you think of 2 lives or any 2 lives among billions of people, please remember that those 2 lives will never ever be completely same. I'm not even saying that you're expecting that, but sometimes you want them same in certain aspects. Even that won't happen. Even though we are all built fundamentally similar deep down, but on the surface there is so much diversity. And more than that, there is so much diversity in the environment that each of us are in. So each person has their own personality, their own parenting, their own unique influences, their own unique education, their unique interactions with people around them, their hundreds of decisions each day, every day, week after week, months after months, just shaping a unique life for them. So basically, wherever you see a person right now, that's like the effect behind which there are thousands or millions or actually infinite causes, and those are unique for each individual. So the big mistake you make when you compare yourself to other people is you're comparing their current state with your current state, and you have absolutely no idea, first of all, even about your own causes, let alone causes behind their current position. And that's why your comparison is so superficial in nature, and it's just a bad analysis of reality. You can take any dimension of life. It could be health, social life, friendship, love, children, career, any hobbies like cooking, music, painting, whatever. You can pick any dimension and you'll find that some people will be ahead of you, some people will be behind you. This difference actually exists on each dimension of your life. So at the end, your view of other humans must be that each human is just simply unique and different, and there are causes behind it. Without understanding and talking about those causes, it is so useless to talk about the final position. So the first mind shift that you need to have is, whenever you see a person lagging behind, just think to yourself, that person is simply different because of thousands or millions of unique causes. Or when you see somebody ahead of you, you must also remember that person is simply different because of thousands or millions of unique causes. And hence now your focus will not be on the fact that they are ahead of you or behind of you. It's mainly going to be, okay, they're just different, and what are those causes? Which brings me to the second point. When you compare yourself with other people, don't do it on outcomes. Dig out those deeper principles and processes. So building from the previous point, the idea here is that when you're actually thinking about other people who have, let's say, achieved something, who seem to be ahead of you, what you need to think about is, how can I find out the deeper processes and principles which are existent in that person's life? Like, what are those useful causes that led to that position? How much of those causes are like universal principles and processes, like real knowledge which I can probably use myself? So let's say your friend gets a job in a startup, right? And they're earning 2 times more salary than you right now because the startup has a lot of investment and they're earning a lot of money, so they are able to pay their employees really well. Now the question is, when you hear that, where does your mind go to? Oh, I also want that job. I also want to work in that company. I also want that kind of salary. If your mind goes to that, you're doing a terrible comparison. And this comparison will leave you miserable. Like, most of the times, doing what others are doing would not even make sense for you because you have your own unique circumstances. You can't just apply in that startup. You can't just shift your job description to their job description. So don't think like, oh, I want that same outcome. The goal must be to find out the deeper principles. Your thought should be, what is he doing that I might be not doing? What does he know that I don't know? And you can either observe the person or you can just ask them if you have access to them. And then you find out, oh, I was giving 1 interview per week and he was giving 1 interview per day. While I was playing video games on the weekend, he was learning new courses and upgrading his skills on the weekend. While I was busy sending memes to friends on Instagram, he was busy networking on LinkedIn. So the causes behind their position now gives you some ideas, some principles which you can apply in your own circumstances as well. So here you're trying to just learn about the reality, how the world works, deeper principles in this objective world, what leads to what. And the good news is there are some universally applicable principles and ideas which you also need in your toolbox. The more you identify and learn them, the more you can grow. Hence, in this new approach, when you're analyzing other people's lives, you're not doing it to compare, to compete. You're simply doing it to learn what is behind that, what is behind their success. So now let's take our mind shift to one step deeper. When you see someone ahead of you, now you're thinking that person is simply different. That person is simply in a different position because of probably thousands or millions of causes, and I must focus on digging out universal principles and ideas in those causes. So the third point is you must grow from where you are, not towards where others have reached. Basically, at this moment, your knowledge, skills, personality, habits, resources, everything is at a certain level. And there is no way you can magically just bring itself to somebody else's level. You can only go 1%, 2% higher than where you are right now. First of all, this approach is amazing because it gives you objective benchmarks. Like instead of constantly getting attracted by where others are and trying to again copy them, emulate them, you just figure out where am I today and tomorrow I'm going to be better than that. Your journey originates from where you are right now. And I say you must go on this journey of improving yourself. Why? Because the way we are built, when you push yourself, when you push your mind, your body, you actually become stronger, healthier, happier. Like when you're able to focus on your mind on something for a really long time, your mind grows in response to that focus. When you put your body under controlled stress, for example, during running, and then when you follow it up with eating, resting, recovering, you come out stronger than what you were before and you become physically more resilient. So when your brain and body, when they are pushed, when they are put under reasonable stress, that actually maximizes your health and happiness. That increases your longevity also. You feel better, you live longer. So your mindset must be growth oriented, but the growth is about where do you go next from where you are, not how do I reach where she or he has reached. And that is a huge difference in approach. And now let's take our mind shift one more step further. When you see somebody ahead of you, now you think that person is in a different position because of thousands or millions of unique causes. Within those causes, I have to find universally applicable principles and ideas, and I'll use those principles and ideas to push my own mind and body because pushing myself is better for my mind and body. And now the last point for today, growth is good, but it must be accompanied with acceptance. See, think about this. There are hundreds of people around you. And even if you look at close people, there could be 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 people that you are close to, depending on your circumstances, depending on your needs and social capabilities. And then more than that, there must be role models that you may have. How many people can you learn from? Because if you really try to deconstruct everybody's life to come up with those universal principles and ideas, you will be just doing that 24/7 because there is no end to it. That learning is never ending, and using that learning to grow yourself is also never ending. Those are infinite processes. You will drive yourself crazy that way. So that's why to balance that growth mindset, you have to have an equally powerful acceptance mindset, which is whatever position I am in today, it is unique because of thousands and millions of unique causes, and I must make peace with this current position first. Like it is what it is. I accept my life in its unique forms. This is my luck, this is my destiny. Or you can say this has been my luck, this has been my destiny. And there's no getting away from that fact. You must accept it. You must find your own unique different position equally valid and worthy as others' unique positions. So instead of thinking in terms of who's ahead, who's behind, try to start thinking in terms of differences and accept all differences, including your own. So in that way, acceptance and growth must go hand in hand for an optimal life experience. So I'll quickly summarize. Your new approach in life is not to compare, copy, or compete with where people are. You simply have to extract knowledge behind their positions and use that for your own growth. And to balance your own growth journey, you must accept your life in its own unique forms. That's it. A very important factor in mental peace is that instead of just thinking and thinking internally, you should be able to talk about your frustrations emotions to someone. But sometimes your friends and family can get tired of listening or might not even understand you well. That's why you should talk to a therapist. Your emotions need regular air ventilation. Your thoughts need regular garbage disposal, like once every week with a trained therapist. At Shridhar Life School, we have a team of therapists that you can talk to. Please go to shridharlifeschool.com to book your sessions.